Among the duties of the presiding bishop is the responsibility to visit every diocese of the Episcopal Church. And we were privileged to be one of the earlier dioceses to which Bishop Katharine came. Filled with passion and energy, it's not surprising that she's already visited all the dioceses in 16 countries. But rather than saying that that's been done and resting, she's relentlessly been present around the church. When I asked her to be part of this weekend's celebration, she readily said yes. I am particularly grateful, not simply because she is our presiding bishop and primate, because her vision of a church is one whose heartbeat is mission, mission, mission. And that has inspired you and me to be those who engage in the work of mission that this night is all about. So Bishop Katharine, it is with pride and deep love that I offer you the Diocese of San Diego. And beloved, it is with equal pride and love that I offer you our presiding bishop and primate, the Most Reverend Katharine Jefferts Schori.
Thank you very much for your warm welcome and for your invitation to be here, Brother Bishop Jim. It's a great honor to be back among you. A couple of weeks ago, I had a free Sunday in New York City, which is rare, and I took the opportunity to visit a congregation that I had just heard about. The subway put me off in a really gritty part of the Bronx. Outside the station, there were quite a few dilapidated buildings and plenty of graffiti and a number of signs of emerging new life. I walked a couple of blocks to a building that most nights houses a music venue. It's called Radio Bushwick. On the sidewalk outside late on a Sunday morning, there was a sandwich board that said, Bushwick Abbey, church that doesn't suck. People had already started to gather in the courtyard, mostly young adults, a few people who seemed to know a little more about what was going on, several dogs, and the priest, a young woman with blue hair. She was welcoming people warmly, introducing them to one another, and dealing with details about the coming week and pending worship. The doors opened onto a bar with coffee pots already set up and a sign that told you what the price of beer and wine was after the service. One fellow was swabbing a spill on the concrete floor. The fellowship was warm and gracious, with people being gathered in readily. The service started shortly after noon, an hour that has been consciously chosen as late enough to sleep in or sober up. Music was provided by a band of 4, 2 guitars, a drummer, and a skilled keyboardist and vocalist. They have written lyrics and music and adapted other pieces for this venue. The stage that serves the music hall at night held the band and an altar. Any one of you would have recognized the prayer book form of the liturgy with a few adjustments, like a sung version of the New Zealand Lord's Prayer. The sermon was first-rate, fit the context and the readings, and challenged us all about more loving relationships. The prayers of the people offered opportunity to say or write down our concerns and hopes. And if you wanted a pastoral appointment, the priest holds office hours in 2 different establishments, one a juice bar and the other a real one. When I visited, this community was only 2 months old. A group of about 25 had gathered, a number of them for the first or second time. Almost all of them were young adults, and 2/3 of them were men. Half a dozen dogs had come with their owners. A deeply caring community is clearly emerging in this place, and it's beginning to reach out to serve its neighbors as well. This is clearly not for everybody, but it was not designed to be. I hear that some people in that diocese are complaining about the priest's blue hair. It makes me wonder what the church would do without hair dye. This emerging community is clearly responding to a deep hunger for good news about God's love in human form, for community and meaningful relationships. The children of boomers and the unchurched are discovering that church is not necessarily boring or irrelevant or dictatorial. This isn't the only model that's needed in an age of nuns, N-O-N-E-S, and spiritual seekers. Your campaign to build a serving church is designed to help this diocese move into the next chapter of its life, to bring the gospel to life for new populations, and to help everyone be more effective servants of God's good news. The dedication of a new Episcopal Church Center in Ocean Beach is a model for that kind of living in the world, being present in a community to serve. It's already a center of Christian formation, equipping Jesus' friends for loving God and neighbor. In a new congregation like that one in the Bronx, a serving church would help to mentor that blue-haired priest in the first years of her ministry. And it would help to provide adult education resources for the young adults who are gathering. It would also help them to figure out how to serve their neighbors, the taggers who paint the neighborhood regularly, and the other young artists who are moving into that affordable neighborhood. The prayers that flew over our celebration this morning made me think about a caravanserai, an inn, literally a palace for caravans crossing the desert. The Episcopal Church Center is a caravanserai for pilgrims on the Jesus Road. I hope those prayer flags keep flying, calling the world to turn in and find home on the road, food and shelter and companionship on life's journey. Pray that those prayers may continue to evoke the wind that moved over the deep in the beginning of creation, to prompt love and compassion and spread peace. Let this center become a palace of learning where leaders and members of the caravan hone their skills for the journey. Becoming a serving church means being on the road. We can't stay inside our beautiful churches or insular communities, or we begin to stagnate and die. Episcopalians tend to be very fond of that phrase, "In returning and rest, we shall be saved." The The caravanserai is for returning and resting in God. But Isaiah was speaking to people who were trying to avoid loving God and neighbor. When morning comes after that prayer, we're meant to get up and go forth on the pilgrim's road. Becoming a serving church will help already existing congregations redevelop their buildings as caravanserais. Maybe it's updating classroom space for a school during the week, or redesigning the grounds for garden plots rather than water-hungry lawns, or equipping buildings to generate energy and harvest water. It's also about encouraging creative and entrepreneurial mission initiatives, like giving instruments to homeless youth and teaching them how to make music. It might support a commercial kitchen to teach culinary skills to the underemployed, or underwrite an initiative to end homelessness, or educate inmates, or resettle refugees, or empower the disabled. It invites all of us to ask how we might love our neighbors more concretely. Your part in this campaign is essential. You can help to ensure that the ministry of Jesus continues in this part of California for generations and populations yet to come. 40 years is a good start, a great start. The future is radically open, and you can help to shape it as a strong rock and solid foundation for Jesus' expanding band of friends. Hair dye is not required, but it can help build a bridge for somebody who's looking for home.
Somebody said something about a journey. Well, Katharine, thank you. Thank you for words that I anticipated, because you always strike the right note. We're grateful for the gift of your presence, and we have a small gift for you as a token of that. I know you love the outdoors. We don't have to talk about hiking and such. I trust that this walking stick and this bag of hard gear will remind you of that journey that you have called us to, and this place of sunshine. Remember it when your place is without it. Sand, surf, we have it all. Mountains, snow in the winter, all of it, all right here in the diocese. So next time you need a rest, we won't put you to work, I promise. But you can always call this place